Okay, I'd like to call the Planning and Works meeting to order now that Councillor Erb has arrived. This is a statutory public meeting to consider the rationalization of the boundaries of the countryside line, the Elmira and St. Jacobs Township urban areas, and the Breslau urban area in the Township of Woolwich. The purpose of today's public meeting is to receive comments from the community on a proposed amendment to the regional official plan. Today's public meeting is required under Section 17, Sub 15 of the Planning Act. The notice for this public meeting was advertised in the Record on January the 28th, 2020, and in the Woolwich Observer on January the 30th, 2020. The proposed amendment was also posted on the Region of Waterloo's website. Prior to today's meeting, the Township of Woolwich had also hosted public meetings related to the proposal in 2016 and in 2018. Delegations will be heard today, but no decisions will be made. Anyone in attendance today will be given an opportunity to speak. Please keep your comments to within 5 minutes. Delegations are reminded to give their full name at the beginning of their presentation. Anyone speaking on behalf of a group is asked to please indicate the party they represent. Regional staff will summarize any comments heard today as part of a future report to Regional Council. This report will also provide staff's recommendations regarding the proposed amendment. If you wish to be notified of further meetings on this amendment, please add your contact information to the sign-in sheets provided at the entrance to the chamber. Written comments may be submitted to the regional clerk. And at this point, I will call on the region staff to give a brief overview of the proposed amendment. And I think, Mr. Welwood, you're going to do that. Then we'll have an opportunity to ask Mr. Welwood any questions of clarification. We do have 2 registered delegations, and then anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the committee may do so after those 2 delegations are completed. So welcome, David.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's a pleasure to be here. This is my first time presenting in front of this council, so it's an honor to be here.
We'll think of some difficult questions.
Sounds good. So for those that didn't hear, my name is David Welwood, and I'm a principal planner in the community planning division. Now, is the audio good here? Okay. So at the request of the Township of Woolwich, the region has initiated a regional official plan amendment to implement the township's rationalization exercise. And I'll explain a bit about what that is. I think I've been given a clicker to probably make my job a little easier. If it works, where do I have to aim this clicker?
Van to the rescue.
Okay. Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you. So the purpose of this Regional Official Plan Amendment, or ROP Amendment, as we'll call it, is to rationalize the boundaries of the Elmira and St. Jacobs countryside line and township urban areas in accordance with the policies of the Regional Official Plan, or the ROP. This allows us to approve 2 local official plan amendments, or area municipal official plan amendments, I should say, that were recently adopted by the Township of Woolwich. Next slide. The proposed amendment will also rationalize the boundary of the Breslau urban area and redesignate lands being rationalized from the township designated greenfield area designation and the urban designated greenfield area designation to the prime agricultural area designation. If approved, the proposed ROP amendment would implement the boundary rationalization proposed by the Township of Woolwich as it's identified as adopted in official plan amendments 30 and 34. The next slide. When the Regional Council adopted the official plan back in 2009, the regional official plan, I should say, it established a policy framework for the 4 townships to review the boundaries of the respective countryside lines and township urban areas, as well as the Breslau urban area, as delineated in the regional official plan. This review referred to as a rationalization exercise, is intended to give each township an opportunity to more closely review and evaluate, and if necessary, realign the boundaries of these areas to redirect growth to areas where servicing is more readily available and that could more efficiently accommodate growth. Policies 2B4 and 2B7 in the ROP permit adjustments to the settlement area boundaries outside of a municipal comprehensive review, subject to various criteria that I'll outline on the next slide. It should be noted that there's a similar policy framework set out in the 2019 growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. So next slide. So, these criteria include the following that are outlined on these slides: that the rationalization occurs when the municipal official plan is being brought into conformity with the ROP, and that's an exercise in Woolwich that's underway right now. That it take into account property configurations, land use patterns, natural and constructed features, and that it does not promote strip development. Also, that there be no net increase in the size of the settlement area. And lastly, that the rationalization does not exchange any constrained environmental areas for unconstrained developable areas. So in other words, the exchange has to be for one piece of developable land for another area of developable land. Next slide. So, as I mentioned briefly earlier, this ROP amendment will implement 2 area municipal official plan amendments which have already been adopted by the Township of Woolwich. And these are official plan amendment, or OPA number 30 and OPA number 34. These are the results of a detailed rationalization exercise at the area municipal level. As a result of these rationalization exercises, the Township has requested the region to initiate a ROP amendment to rationalize the boundaries of the countryside line, the Elmira and St. Jacobs Township urban areas, as well as the Breslau urban area. Prior to today's meeting, there was a fulsome public process leading up to the adoption of both OPA 30 and 34. The rationalization exercise began as a scoped official plan review encompassing both the rationalization of Elmira, St. Jacob, as well as Breslau, with the first public meeting held back in 2012. Other public meetings were held throughout 2016, and a statutory public meeting was held in 2017. In March 2017, the Township opted to pursue 2 different official plan amendments for the rationalization, one related to Elmira and St. Jacobs, and another for Breslau. The Township Council considered a report and recommendations with respect to OPA 30 in March of 2018. Next slide. So the proposed amendment will revise maps 3A, 3B, and 7 of the ROP. The countryside line is delineated on map 7 of the ROP by the thick, dark red line surrounding both St. Jacobs and Elmira. This line represents the long-term boundary between the existing Elmira and St. Jacobs Township urban areas and the countryside. The countryside is a designation we refer to that is intended to protect a continuous band of agricultural lands and environmental features such as woodlands, watercourses, wetlands, and other features outside of the urban areas. The proposed amendment would rationalize the boundary of the countryside line to focus the township's long-term growth in areas that can be most efficiently serviced with sewage and water services, and which reflect the long-term needs of the township. Areas proposed to be removed from the prime agricultural area are shown in a diagonal hatching, and areas proposed to be added are shown in a red hatching, added to the prime agricultural area. In accordance with the ROP, there is no net increase in the amount of lands added and removed from the countryside line. Next slide. Elmira and St. Jacobs are designated as township urban areas on map 3B of the ROP. The proposed changes to the township urban area boundaries are illustrated here. Areas to be designated township urban areas are shown with a diagonal hatching, and areas to be removed from the township urban area are shown with a red crosshatch pattern. The proposed amendment would rationalize the township urban area boundary as proposed by Township Official Plan Amendment Number 30. There is no proposed net increase in the amount of land designated township urban area as a result of the proposed amendment. Moving on to Amendment 30, or Official Plan Amendment 34 on the next slide. For OPA 34, and this is the amendment affecting the Breslau urban area, a statutory public meeting was held on June 19th, 2018. Additional public meetings were held in February and June of 2016. A report and recommendation for OPA 34 was considered by the Township Committee of the Whole on August 27th, 2019, and approved by Council on September 10th, 2019. On November 5th, 2019, Township staff requested authorization from Regional Council to initiate the required ROP amendment. Sorry, I should have said that regional staff requested Council for a public meeting to initiate the amendment. Moving on to the next slide. Breslau is designated as an urban area on map 3A of the ROP. The proposed changes to the urban area boundary by OPA 34 are illustrated here. Areas to be included in the urban area and designated greenfield area are shown with a diagonal hatching, and areas to be removed from the urban area boundary and the urban designated greenfield area are shown with a red crosshatch pattern. As per the policies of the ROP, there is no proposed net increase in lands added to the urban area boundary or designated greenfield area designations through this process. So moving on to the next slide. So the next steps, we are going to take all the comments we receive from today's public meeting and also from our recirculation to outside agencies. We are going to present a follow-up report to the Planning and Works Committee later this spring, summarizing the results of today's public meetings and any comments we receive through the circulation process. The report will also outline staff's recommendation to Regional Council on the proposed amendment. And that is the presentation for this public meeting. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah, thanks very much, David. Councillor Shines?
Thank you. Just a question on the rationalization in Elmira. My diagram has a different configuration from the one you had.
Okay.
Which one which one is right?
Perhaps we could go to the map just so I could get an idea of which area in particular you're referring
Sure,
to.
the east side of Elmira.
On the east side. Okay.
So the configuration on the map in the report here. Thank you.
So that's what's shown in our package. Michelle, do you want to see? So this is what's in our package.
That, I believe. Oh, I see. So this is the locational map that's in your package. Includes areas that are affected by the ROP amendment. So that includes areas that are proposed to be added to the countryside line and areas that are anticipated to be removed and or added to the township urban area boundary. So if we go from this map and we move to the countryside line map up here, I think you'll find that that map contains the explains the difference.
But isn't this a little different as well? Because it doesn't, it is different.
So through the chair, the maps in your package, there's only one map showing the countryside line and the amendments to the township urban area, whereas in the presentation, we've separated them out to provide a little more clarity.
Thanks.
Okay, I have no further questions from council, so we'll go to the delegations then.
Okay, thank you.
And the first delegation is Megan Gerghty. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Megan Gerghty. I'm a planner with GSP Group. I'm here this afternoon on behalf of Thomasfield Homes. Thomasfield owns 2 properties in the Breslau urban area. I don't know if you'll remember from David's map from a minute ago, but one of the properties is just south of the railroad tracks in Breslau. That's a portion that's to be removed. And then there's also their second property is adjacent to the Grand River, and it's kind of the westerly-most property on that map as well, and that's to be added. And Thomasfield has been active throughout the whole rationalization process with the township, and I'm just here today in support of the rationalization in particular for these 2 properties. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thanks, Megan. Any questions to Ms. Gerghty? Seeing none, thanks again.
Thank you.
The next delegation is Hugh Handy. Welcome, Hugh.
Thank you, Chair Galloway, members of committee. My name is Hugh Handy, and I'm a senior associate with GSP Group. I am here this evening on behalf of a number company. Mike Gilles, one of our clients, is here sitting next to me this evening. We are also in support of the proposed rationalization before you this evening, and our client's land lies within the St. Jacobs area. There is a letter in your package this evening indicating a couple of the things, and we put together a map which has been circulated to the committee and is now shown on the screen. Our client's land lies in the western side of St. Jacobs, and the red square that's kind of in the middle of the diagram indicates the rationalization and what's noted in our letter as part of OPA 30, that this land would be brought in. Our clients also own land on Northside Drive, a couple of properties, and it's the intention, should this be supported ultimately by regional council, that we would look to develop those properties in combination, and also looking at how those future connections are made to surrounding properties. Calvary Church is immediately to the south of this area to be rationalized. The other point that I would make in terms of the orange area that's out, this is the adjustment, I believe, to the countryside line, and we've made some estimates on those lands as well. They're both about the same in terms of being 2.2 acres, although they relate to different things. Land is not being swapped from one side of the property to the other. In fact, it's coming from Elmira towards Mr. Welwood's comments of being rationalized and conforming with your ROP. So with that in mind, Mr. Chair, I don't have any further comments. If there's any questions of the committee, I'd be happy to answer those.
Okay, I see none, Mr. Handy. Thank you very much, then.
Thank you.
I have no other registered delegations, but I will ask if there's anyone else in the audience who would like to address the Planning Works Committee on this particular matter. They may so indicate at this time. Okay, seeing none, this matter will be returning to council sometime in the spring in the form of a report and recommendation, and we'll be dealing it again at that time. If you are interested, as some of you no doubt are, make sure that you are registered on the contact information so that you will get notice of that particular meeting. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Foxton, Councillor Armstrong, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next.